Hey, what's going on, role players? It's the Bard here, and welcome back to the corner. And we got another viewer request today. Please do more of these MK builds. Do Quan Chi and his variations. I do kind of feel like I'm cheating a little bit when I do someone like Quan Chi. When you've got a character whose variations are Summoner, Sorcerer, and Warlock, it kind of feels like the job has already been done for you. But Sorcerer and Warlock are an awesome combination, so much so that you're not the only person who wants to see it. I was thinking of doing a Hexblade pact with the Blade of the Shadow Sorcerer and wanted to know some optimized options for this build. I'm really lucky because not only do I get to give my interpretation on the awesome Quan Chi, but I also get to help 2 subscribers at the same time. I just love it when things like that come together. So we go Sorcerer, Shadow Magic level 6 and Warlock, Hexblade level 7. You're going to need to go to at least level 7 as a Warlock in order to get enough invocations. Thirsting Blade, Eldritch Smite and Sign of Omen are all Warlock level 5s, so you're going to have at least one swap. This will give you the 2 level 5 ones, probably Thirsting Blade and Eldritch Smite, and then you can grab Sign of Omen at level 7. For your Sorcerer you want Quickened Spell and Twin Spell, and if you plan to go up to at least level 10 you get another metamagic option then, so maybe go for Extend Spell so you can get the most out of your castings. You don't actually need any feats in order for you to do what you do, but it might just be useful to have some just for some flexibility. If you're the party's primary arcane spellcaster, then Ritual Caster can give you a lot of the options that you might be missing, so perhaps Ritual Caster Wizard is a good choice. Elemental Adept is great for damage consistency, so being able to punch through things like fire resistance is ideal for this character. And Warcaster still remains one of the best feats for any kind of caster who's stuck in the middle of combat. Expect to have to deal with concentration checks all the time if you're any kind of melee and magic combination. Since you've got 2 arcane spellcasting classes, you can grab as many energy damage cantrips as you want. You'll probably find 1 or 2 that you'll stick to a lot of the time, but it's just great to have lots of different options when it comes to different damage types so that you can start ignoring resistance and also take advantage of any vulnerabilities that certain creatures might have. Also make sure you look at some utility cantrips as well. Sorcerer gets so many cantrips on its list, it's unreal. You want some really good manipulating cantrips like Prestidigitation, Minor Illusion and Friends. These are the kind of cantrips that will turn a social situation in your favour. They don't call Quan Chi the Deceiver for nothing. One of Quan Chi's more useful tools is his Ground Burst, sometimes referred to as Rune. What it does is it knocks a creature prone whilst doing a bit of damage as well. There aren't many spells in the game that actually do that, especially at low level, so you might want to consider something like Earth Tremor. Earth Tremor not only knocks a creature prone, but in certain environments it can create difficult terrain, so it's a very good spacing and zoning tool. The prone condition gives you free advantage at close range, but being able to control the environment is usually of so much more value. Difficult terrain typically means slower movement speed, so being able to hold off your attackers so that your party can get into a better position is of such great value. Difficult terrain typically means slower movement, which means you're less likely to be surrounded by your attackers and you've got more breathing space in order to start using more ranged attacks to thin out their numbers before they get to you. Once you are in melee combat, however, you're going to want to concentrate more on your targets and less on your environment. Trance is Quan Chi's setup tool, so you're going to want something like Whole Person, which is going to do that job for you. Whole Person means party time for the Hexblade, which means advantage on your attack rolls and automatic critical hits. 1d8 damage plus an additional 1d8 damage per level of Warlock spell you sacrifice is good enough as it is, but having automatic critical hits on that is just off the scale. Quickened Spell with Whole Person can be cast as a bonus action, which frees up your main attack for your Eldritch Smite. Because action economy is so important, the faster you can drop a creature, the less damage you're going to take overall. Sign of Omen will get you Bestow Curse, which will naturally supersede Whole Person in the future. However, you will only be able to use it once per day, but it's still vitally important. Bestow Curse is a ridiculously powerful spell, because once you cast it at a 5th level slot, you don't have to concentrate on it anymore. And it's brilliant because you can actually be creative with the spell as well. If your DM allows you to have Paralyzed as a condition, they might not think twice about it. You say you want to paralyze the target using your Bestow Curse, they might say yeah, because it's the same as a Whole Person, and that's a lower level spell. But the target may only get 1 chance to save against it. Bestow Curse is a 5th level slot, no concentration, and an 8-hour duration. Can you imagine the devastation that would cause? One feature the Sorcerer has also is the flexible casting, being able to turn spare sorcery points into additional slots. This isn't really a very good ability for the Sorcerer, but it can be amazing when you combine it with Warlock, because you can turn your sorcery points into low-level Warlock slots. So what's the benefit of this? By having low-level Warlock slots, you can actually use your Smite again and again, because you don't always want a massive 5th level slot to smite a creature with, but you might want a level 2 slot or a level 3 slot so you can get something like 3d8 or 4d8 additional damage on a creature with a single attack. Even just giving yourself a couple of 1st level Warlock spells can really give you some consistent melee damage, whilst freeing up your main Warlock spells for bigger and better things. And if you don't use your Warlock spells before your next rest, convert them into sorcery points, have your rest, and then do the whole process again. Victory. So if you like to have a lot of summoned creatures, then this combination is pretty good for you, because you get the Accursed Spectre and you get the Hound of Ill Omen, so you get at least a couple of things that you can have running around the battlefield at the same time. But the gamers amongst you will know that people pick Summoner for the zoning, the traps, and the setups. Both creatures you can summon are useful for giving you advantage when you're fighting alongside them, but they both have their own practical uses. Your Spectre has a number of resistances and immunities that make it a very practical damage sponge, whereas your Hound of Ill Omen can also create disadvantage on saving throws, so there's a good combination to be had when using either of these creatures, or even both at the same time. It's possible to have both creatures fighting side by side in order to wall out your opponent, or it's possible to summon the creature on the flank so that you can get advantage when you're going on the attack. One of your Hound of Ill Omen's most powerful features is its ability to create disadvantage against saving throws. This is particularly effective with those spells that allow you to save round after round, such as Hold Person, so when they have disadvantage on that, they won't be saving as often. This is going to make it a real struggle for them to break your Hold Person spell, so you can continue to have advantage on attack rolls and automatic critical hits against your target. Dust Devil, while not strictly a summoning spell, still fits the theme very well. The elemental force resembles a Dust Devil in appearance, so at least it keeps with the summoner theme to a degree. This is a highly versatile spell. Whilst the damage isn't amazing, the real prize is the ability to push creatures around with it. You can use your bonus action to move this spell up to 30 feet in any direction in order to keep zoning creatures out, and if the environment permits, it creates a massive cloud of debris. This cloud heavily obscures the area, meaning any creature within it cannot see, and any sight-based ability checks are automatically failed. Additionally, a creature in the heavily obscured area will have disadvantage on its attack rolls, and you will have advantage on attack rolls against it. With the ability to do damage, push creatures away, and heavily obscure an area, Dust Devil is good not just for being on the attack, but also if you have to go on the retreat as well. The Sorcerer variation has spells like Dark Curse, Final Hex, and Black Magic, so ironically most of these are all going to come from your Warlock class features. But of course different curses do different things, so whether that's diminishing the enemy's ability to hit you, or cursing them so that they take more damage, whatever that curse might be, it means they'll be on the back foot and you'll be able to press the advantage. The Hexblade's Curse isn't a spell, so it doesn't require any concentration. If you have a high enough Warlock level slot, then Bestow Curse also doesn't require any concentration. So you can have both Hexblade Curse and Bestow Curse on the target at the same time, and then you can use a bonus action to cast Hex as well. So you can have 3 curses on the go, all at once. Bane is a useful multi-purpose curse that isn't available for sorcerers and is only available via invocation for a Warlock. Thief of the Five Fates is a good spell, not just for avoiding attacks, but also for diminishing your target's ability to save against your spells. This is particularly more effective for the Warlock Sorcerer combination because you can use your sorcery points to make low-level Warlock slots. The way Bane scales is to add additional creatures that you can affect with the casting. But even as a first level slot, Bane targets 3 creatures, which is usually more than enough. Whether you view it as an armor spell, or whether you view it as a curse which prevents a target from hitting you, it's still doing the same thing, so it just comes down to a matter of perspective. Both Hex and Hexblade's Curse are great for chipping away at a creature with lots and lots of hit points, so make sure you get both of them on it at the same time. It's going to require a bonus action to use either of these abilities, so you're going to have to put them on in multiple rounds, but it's absolutely worth it because when you use multiple hitting spells, like Eldritch Blast for example, the Hex goes off, and the Hexblade's Curse procs as well, and you just get tons and tons of damage racking up from round to round. So we've already gone over some combat applications for the Bestow Curse spell, but it's a great out of combat utility curse as well. You want to be experimenting with this all the time because there are so many practical applications for it, and because you're allowed to be creative with its use, there are so many things that this spell will get you out of, so many situations that you can find a use for it. I guarantee any clever player will find a use for this spell, because everyone should know the value of a painfully restrictive long duration curse like this one. So I'm not such a gaming novice as not to know that the reason that people pick Warlock is for the armoured reversals. Warlock is a variation of unexpected attacks and striking from multiple angles. First on your list should be the Warlock specific Hellish Rebuke. This spell has good damage at its base level, but it scales pretty well as well with different level spell slots. But at the same time it really helps with your action economy too, because you're using it as a reaction spell. When this spell fires off, it's so worth spending those additional sorcery points to get the twin spell effect on it, because you get to target an additional creature with the Hellish Rebuke, so even though that particular creature hasn't caused the reaction, it's still going to take a huge amount of damage. If you really need to put damage on a specific target, then whenever you cast this spell, make sure you spend those sorcery points and get the additional effect against another creature of your choosing. Another great reaction spell to stop a creature from breaking your stride is Shield. Shield gives a massive boost to AC, but it lasts for a duration of 1 round, so it's useful against multiple attacks. So Extend Spell can improve that to 2 rounds, which is great for soaking up a lot of attacks that would otherwise cause you an awful lot of damage. Finally, Absorb Elements is one of your best reactions for energy damage. Not only is it a solid resistance to energy damage, but it also gives you the capacity to increase the potency of your melee attacks. Whenever you're concentrating on your Warlock variation, there will always be a reprisal or a backlash for enemy actions. When there's always a retributive effect for any action that a creature takes against you, it will soon come to the realization that nothing it does will be safe. So whether you like an MK build or whether you like a particular character concept, I love doing these builds for you, they are so much fun. If you want me to cover a specific topic, leave it in the comment section down below. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, why not do so? Click the subscribe button, join our community, and get informed every time something new comes up from the channel. And with that being said, I will catch you guys next time at the gaming table.